What's going on, y'all? Brandon Brasher here with New Faces Podcast, back for another album review. Yes, today we're talking about Chance the Rapper's The Starline. This is his newest work in 6 years. We all remember his last work, The Best Day Ever, and it sucked. So, let's give it a little background here. The Best Day was really, really bad. It was a really corny record. It ruined his musical image as well as his public image in a multitude of ways. We don't need to break that all down right now, though. Really, the big concern is Chance this corny rapper, or was that a one-off and he's going to show his actual God-given ability here? Because we know he's a good rapper. We've heard acid rap. Even Coloring Book, which I'm not a huge fan of, showed his ability to be versatile in a multitude of ways. Are we going to get that, or are we going to get this corny, trying to be fun sort of Chance the Rapper? Obviously, he's not really going through happy times in the past 6 years. He has been divorced. He has, gone through the ringer in terms of his musical ability, and he even got caught at the carnival catching some ass. You know what I'm saying? Now, granted, they were divorced at that point anyway, but no one knew that. So his public image got destroyed anyway. So there was only two ways for me that this was going to go. Either he was going to stay corny, or he was going to be the rapper we expected, because everyone expected him to take over the new school and be that top rapper, and it just didn't happen. But with this album, Starline, the Starline, I can honestly say this is his best project in a decade. Yes, better than Coloring Book. The intro, Star Sign intro, is monumental for how this album is going to go. I'm a big believer in if the intro sets the tone in terms of greatness, that's what we're going to get. And that's exactly what we got here with this intro. He breaks down pretty much everything that's happened in the past 6 years. How he even had, his 3 albums went platinum, but he had an F- one in his discography. And he even says, listen, that's behind us now. This is 2025 Chance the Rapper. And I loved that, because that sets a tone of confidence. That sets a tone of, this is going to be a different me. And that's what we got. You got Ride, which is a really fun track, really laid back. Talking about riding with the bros, being with the homies. Ride or Die for my homies. Do or Die does a great job on their feature. I really enjoy this track. Then you have the next 2 tracks, which I think are Chance's best songs lyrically. You got No More Old Men, which, first off, Jamila Woods does an amazing job on the hook. She probably has the best hook on the whole album. But this is Chance's best rapping to me, and I think this is, he's breaking down how life changes as you get older, how there may not be any more old men because of how people are treated in America nowadays. It used to be fun, it used to be vibrant, and now it gets dark out here. There's a lot of violence, there's a lot of crime, there's a lot of all this stuff that may change how life used to be. And I think Chance does a really good job capturing that. And then there's the Negro problem with BJ's The Chicago Kid, which, by the way, was not expecting to see him on there. Haven't heard that name in a decade. But anyways, incredible beat. I thought BJ's The Chicago Kid did a very solid job. Maybe not as impactful, but I think Chance does all the impactfulness you can have on a track. He's talking about black identity, dealing with being black in America, police, politics, and just being, in America as a black man. 2 tracks that capture a multitude of feelings, and I think Chance really locks in with those 2. Then you go back to the Go with Vic Mensa, which was great to see them back together because we haven't seen them together in quite some time. They had a little fallout incident, and I think that was all going on when Chance was married and everything else. He kind of left all that behind. Back to the Go talks about marriage, being divorced, and kind of having to start over. And that's a new experience for Chance that he probably wasn't expecting. Vic adds his verse in terms of relationship problems, and I think they both do a really good job sounding as fresh as ever as they were back in 2014. Like, it was really cool to see them together. Highs and Lows with Joey Badass. I think this was a single way back when, correct me if I'm wrong, but it does fit into the album of dealing with a lot of life's highs, a lot of life's lows. I think him and Joey Badass do a really good job going back and forth on that. Not the most impactful track, but still a really good track there. And then I think the back half of the album is where I enjoyed the most. Tree, Burn Your Block. 2 mind-numbingly fun tracks. Tree, yeah, it's a little corny. It's just about smoking weed, but I think Chance's ad-libs and Chance's, croons and different voice complexions there. It's a really fun track. Does Wayne make any goddamn sense on this track in terms of what he's saying? No. I read back the lyrics so many times and it makes no fucking sense. He's just rapping, again, mind-numbingly. But that's kind of the point of the track. I got Smino added some texture on there. Overall, fun track. Burn Your Block, he was trying to make a dance track and it worked. Whereas the last album would have been really corny and trash. This one was really fun. He really encapsulated, what it probably is like to be out in Chicago at a club. And I think that Burn Your Block is a really fun track. The last 5 songs are very huge in terms of faith and in terms of building that confidence back up for Chance. Letters, it was a raw, monumental beat on there, and his lyrical ability and presence is massive on here, especially as a guy who is a man of faith in Chance the Rapper, talking about some hypocrisies in there, like the mega churches and Joel Osteen. It feels bigger than life with this song. I think that this is a top 5 song, maybe even top 3 on the album. Speed of Light is getting up, dusting himself off, and showing that he's becoming his best self. He's finding himself again. He may have not been the guy that you once thought he was going to be, as like a top guy in the game or as just a good human in general maybe. I think Pretty, it's a smooth track. Another confidence builder. He's loving himself. This is a love yourself type of track. The Mirror has a crush on him. Just a drop. Very calm track about faith, about God. I thought Chance did a really good job on here. The singing from Chance was really solid. Jay Electronica, I could have done without. To be honest, I'm not a huge Jay Electronica guy. Know the guy can rap. Sometimes I just feel like he's just rhyming to rhyme. Fine. I thought the Facebook thing was stupid. the end of his verse was really trash. But honestly, really good track regardless. And then I think Speed of Love is a perfect way to close this album out. I think it was the perfect last chapter to this part of the album. He starts off with Mac Miller's death and how, he died in September. In October, he was crying. And this is in 2018. And I think this is just a perfect timeline track. Jasmine Sullivan does a great job on the hook again. Chance has done a really good job getting features and using them to the fullest ability. And I think Chance perfectly ends the album off with Reflection. And I think that was really what it was all about. Do I think he could have went a little deeper on some tracks? Yeah, sure. I think there could have been a little bit more raw emotion like there was on Letters, like there was No More Old Man, like there was on the Negro Problem. However, the point of this album to me was him getting his good faith back musically, because that image was ruined because of that last album. It was truly that bad of a record. For him to come back and instill confidence in the fan base that he has and the fans of hip-hop in general is what mattered. There are some bad tracks on here. Space and Time was some Disney Channel bullshit, I'm not gonna lie. It's kind of corny. And I thought Link Me in the Future, I apologize, is the corniest song on the album. It is the best day corny to me. And I think he could have left that off. Did not like the singing, did not like the beat, did not like anything about this track that Chance did. Just felt very corny. Drake Tomania. This is getting a lot of love. I can understand why. I just feel like it's a little odd for this type of album. I think he's just having fun rapping, and I do think the youngin' on the track, Baby Chief Do It, he's a teenager, so he actually did a pretty good job. I actually didn't mind his rapping. I just felt like it was a little odd to have that track on this album. I don't think it's necessarily a bad track, it just feels weird on this album, especially in between the tracks that it was in between. It just didn't really make any sense. I think that might have been a placement issue more than a song issue. And then Gun Your Purse. I'll be honest, don't care for Thug's verse on here. I thought Tia did a pretty good job, Tia Corinne. She did a very good job on the end there. And I thought Chance held his own. I thought he was all right, but the track didn't really do much for me. So there was like a couple songs in the middle there that didn't really hold its weight. But overall, I think this is an album that shows he's that good of a rapper and that he is coming back to form. That The Best Day was a one-off. That was a bad album. Marriage apparently doesn't produce great albums for Chance. However, this album right here kind of encapsulates what we thought Chance the Rapper was going to be, because he was supposed to be that top rapper, and that kind of fell off. So, overall, I'm giving this a 7.5 out of 10. Let me know what you guys think in the comments. Let me know what you would have rated it. Give me your favorite tracks, least favorite tracks off the album, and we'll see you next time.